Hi, I'm Jess, a 27-year-old girl who has always felt like there was more to life than what meets the eye, who has always questioned everything ever since she was a child. Boy, do I have so many freaking questions. But hey, I'm a curious girl who satiates on the idea of feeding my brain with valuable information, words of wisdom, or just stories and lessons that can potentially help me out in life, who also craves a life full of depth, always searching for the deeper meaning to things, and connects so deeply to living a life that aligns with the soul. If it's not good for my soul, I don't want it. And for all my astrology nerds out there, I'm an Aquarius sun, an Aries moon, and a Pisces rising, going through my first ever Saturn return, which has been the toughest year of my life. I quit my job without a plan. I lost my grandmother. I almost ended my 10-year relationship. I lost 99% of my following as a content creator that just 2 years ago had me at the height of my career, viral videos, consistent brand deals, and the most money I have ever made in my life. So yeah, Saturn has definitely been Saturning. Oh, and if you don't know what Saturn means, Saturn is a planet that identifies with responsibilities. The purpose of it is to make you kind of grow up. People reach their Saturn return per se when they are around the ages of 27, 28, 29, and that's when you kind of transition to being a full adult. So certain things happen in life to kind of not test you, but make you responsible, make you have to become an adult. And it's kind of like you go through like real adult things that happen when you become an adult. I feel like I said adult a lot, but you get what I'm saying. So you kind of go through tough experiences that are meant to strengthen you and to make you more responsible. But usually when you go through whatever lessons that you have to go through or tough times, you become a better person in the end. But that's not to get anyone scared who is also going through their Saturn return, as the experiences and lessons look different for everyone. But know that Saturn does not come to play, and lessons will be had, and you will not be the same person you were before you started, in the best way possible. If you don't understand what I mean about Saturn this and astrology this, it's okay. I'll probably talk more about it at another time, but for the other astrology nerds, you know how important going through a Saturn return is and how life-changing it could be in the best and toughest ways. Nevertheless, on this spiritual path, I have learned so much. But one of my aha moments was, if you so choose to really open your eyes and your mind, you will begin to realize that there are many more tools available in life than what most of us have been taught, that were meant for us to use, if we so choose, to help us have a better connection and relationship with ourselves, to become self-aware so that we can better understand ourselves, and not just ourselves, but deeper than that, our souls and our soul's purpose in this life. Because body care is great, but soul care is where the real healing, growth, and happiness starts. My body, your body, are just shells that our souls has chosen to live in this lifetime. That's why when someone passes, their soul ascends and their body is left behind. And why is it that we cannot see the soul ascend? Because there is more to life than what meets the eye. And that's where having faith comes in. Although, if you so choose to really open your eyes and your mind, you will begin to see in many different ways. Because there are tools in this life that were not only meant for us to connect to our souls, but that are also meant to help us connect to a higher power to receive guidance throughout our lives. Depending on your beliefs, that higher power may look different for each of us. But for those who were wondering, I do believe in God. I also believe in spirit guides. But if the universe, spirit, or something else resonates better with you, then that's completely fine too. On this channel, we are open and respectful to all beliefs, religions, etc., as long as they do not cause harm to ourselves or others. So, there are a variety of things and tools available to us in life that we can all pick and choose from according to what resonates with us, what works best for us, and what feels right. Listening to our intuition. I have always been drawn to astrology ever since I was a kid, and now spirituality. So throughout this series, I will be sharing how I navigate through life using both and what they actually look like in real life. For me at least. See, I know there are so many very amazing, helpful, and informative videos out there on both spirituality and astrology. But you know what isn't out there as much? Proof, evidence, real life examples. What does it actually look like to go through a spiritual awakening? What does it look like to have a daily spiritual practice? Where do you even start? What does it look like to go through a Saturn return? What does it look like to receive a message from God or spirit or the universe for the first time? And how that can either be really exciting or kind of scary. How do transits in astrology play out in real life? How to build and learn to trust your intuition. What does it actually look like to have an Aries moon? I think you get the point. This series is going to be all about exposing what spirituality and astrology looks like in real life to show you that this is real. So, welcome to The Life of a Spiritual Girl, Episode 1. So, every day I try to include spiritual practices and astrology in my routine. And words cannot begin to express the impact it has made in my life. So much so that I constantly wonder why the heck it's not something that everyone else is doing. I often feel like spirituality and astrology could benefit the world in so many ways. But I also know it's not, one, for everyone, and two, it's not the easiest thing to put in the real and sometimes tough work needed to heal and grow on the most deepest level. But just imagine a world full of people who were self-aware and constantly healing themselves. A girl can dream, right? Anyways, back to incorporating spirituality and astrology every day, which actually looks like me starting my day off with my spiritual practice and ending the day reviewing the astrology of the day to see how it aligned or connected to my day. For instance, say I had a terrible day, I didn't feel well, or I found it really hard to just be productive. My astrology would probably say something around the lines of, today, you shouldn't overexert yourself. You need to allow your body to rest. etc. This is just an example. Or in the morning when I pull an oracle card and it is spot on with what I'm going through in my life. Which, let me tell you, at the beginning of my journey, used to creep me out. It still amazes me how spot on the messages or the guidance is that I receive from my spiritual practices and from my astrology. Something that I have been really starting to pay attention to are planet transits in astrology, because they are meant to highlight or illuminate certain areas in our life that are going to be important for us to pay more attention to at certain times. I'm going to be posting a video explaining more about what planet transits are if you don't know, or I'll link it in the description box below if it's already posted. But the most simplest way to understand planet transits, just look at them like they are transitions in our lives. When we are going through a transit in a specific area of our lives, we will often experience a minor or major event or feeling / emotion around something in that area of our lives. And as long as you have your birth chart, you can always see what area in your life the transit is impacting. And then you can make the connection to see how it's actually playing out in your life and to see how accurate it is. For instance, the sun was transiting my 6th, 7th, and 8th houses throughout the months of August, September, and October, which means some of the major themes or things that were going to be important in my life for those 3 months were going to have to do with health, relationships, transformation, and personal / spiritual growth, which unsurprisingly was very spot on. In these 3 months, I had to learn to get back into some sort of a routine after grieving the passing of my grandmother and the painful experience of everything that comes after someone close to you passes. Having to plan the funeral with family, having to create the obituary, which I was in charge of. It was just so much. I had also quit my job without having much of a plan because I was miserable. So after allowing myself the space to grieve, after about 2 months, I realized for my sanity, I needed to start taking care of myself again. And figuring out where to start with this whole rebrand or transition from my old content that I used to post to more lifestyle / spiritual content, or whatever content that aligned with the journey I was on now. So I created a routine and tried my best to stick with it, which included going back to the gym, starting to do yoga again, and working on my, I guess you would call it, rebrand. Having something to look forward to every day other than crying my eyes out was nice. But I do remember not having the energy to talk to many people, let alone hang out with people, which was hard because I was still getting calls from family members and having to check in with other family members. I think I was just kind of drained from everything. I just wanted to stay to myself. Alright, so I'm on my way to my yoga class, or it's like a yoga stretch, and then it's like a rumba class, a dance class as well. I don't know why, but first off, I'm just so nervous. I'm extremely nervous for this class, and I've also missed multiple turns. Hold on, this is dumb ASS. Anyways, I'm blaming it on Mercury retrograde because I missed 2 turns. So I was starting off on time because I have a tendency to be late to places, but this time I was like, you know what? I have not been early once for a yoga class, and I wanted to make it, make sure I did, and I left early, and then I missed 2 turns, and yeah, so now I'm gonna be showing up a minute late, which is, I hate that. Every Mercury retrograde, if I'm driving, I always end up like having a situation where I miss my turns so often, and it's so annoying. Anyways, so yeah, but I'm just like anxious. I don't know why. I haven't been to a class, maybe that's why, in a long time. So I'm kind of just like nervous to be like out there again, like around other people and doing stuff. I don't know. It's like I feel my anxiety in me. Like I almost didn't go. Like I was overthinking it at the last minute. I'm like, you know what? No, it's the freaking full moon. I need to go. So I'm gonna go. Thanks to the full moon for giving me the motivation, inspiration to go. But anyways, I'm so mad that I'm gonna be a minute late. That makes me more anxious because I don't want like attention brought onto me. I don't want people to be like, oh, that late girl. Anyways, I'm nervous, but I know this will be good for me to get it back out there. Yeah. But that suddenly changed when the sun transitioned into my 7th house of close relationships. Suddenly, after focusing on my health and work again, I was in a better mindset. Who knew, right? Who knew that would make me have a better mindset? And I had more energy to actually connect with people that were close to me. And I didn't realize it at the time, but I really needed it. I went on more dates with my boyfriend. I started to see and talk to my close family more. I reached out to my favorite intuitive practitioner again after not talking to her for a while. And I even got my first healing session in a long time. It was an energy healing. So I'm on my way to get my first ever energy healing or any type of healing session in months. And I am very excited because this is going to be the start to me really taking like my healing seriously. I know it's like not, it's exciting, but I know that it's serious and it does take work, and it's it can be an emotional roller coaster because you're pretty much looking into yourself and pretty much tending to whatever wounds you have, whatever wounds that you grew up with. Oh my gosh, you can't even see me. Whatever wounds, and when I say wounds, I mean scarrings, like things that have affected you in your life. That may be the reason why I struggle with anxiety or, insecurity, or just whatever things that people experience in their life that is holding them back or causing them mental issues or stress or whatever. Those are wounds. They're things that, you may have developed from childhood or, as you grew up or whatever. But anyways, that's what healing sessions are. The healing sessions are meant to nurture that. Healing sessions are a great way to start your healing journey because you're doing it with a professional. And when I say professional, I would mean like a person who is usually trained and they're intuitive and they're like, anyways. So yeah, I'll have to go more into detail, but I'm getting my first session today in a long time, and I'm very excited and nervous because I have a lot of things that I've been, working through. Obviously, the biggest thing is my grandmother, which I feel like I'm doing really good with right now, but I'm like scared that it's like I'm gonna surprise myself and I'm gonna have be an emotional wreck. But I guess that's a good thing because the beauty about the healing sessions is that it's a it's a safe space to release any emotions that you've like been bottling up, or that you
in a quarter mile.
Yeah. So anyways, that's what I'm doing. I'm going to my favorite intuitive practitioner. Oh shoot, no. Right now, how do I feel? Let me explain how I feel. Right now, I feel really pretty good. I feel really good because I filmed my podcast tomorrow.
3/4 of a mile.
Hey, lady. I feel really good because I tomorrow. Well, first off, I filmed my first episode a couple of days ago for my podcast, and I feel so good about that episode. I mean, I don't think it could have went better, and I do, and I feel like it's because I prepared myself, and I was really nervous because like I've never filmed a podcast before and talking about the things that I'm going to be talking about on the podcast. So I feel really good about that. And my grandma's birthday was also that same day, and although it was a sad day, I feel really good about that, how that was spent, and I was able to connect with a lot of family, and her letter was very, like, it meant a lot to me. And then yesterday was a good day because I was able to edit.
In a quarter mile.
It's just been a good couple days. So I feel like I'm going into this session with like feeling actually good. At least I think I do. And there's been times where usually when I get the session or need the session, I'm like, oh, because I feel terrible and
Take the next, then turn left lane.
I feel pretty good. On a scale of 1 to 10, I would say I feel about a solid 8 or 9. And I don't know, that's like high. But I feel really good. And maybe I'm really excited to see the lady, because I haven't seen her in so long. And she's amazing. But anyways.
Take the next left.
I guess want some clarity. That's my intention for this session. It's just to gain clarity. Maybe heal anything
in 600 feet, your destination
that is deep down inside of me that I don't know, and just I don't know. Yeah. Okay, bye. And brought me so much clarity. And it kind of helped me make sense of this transition that I was going through in my life with quitting my job and starting from zero, rebranding and all the things. And then I started my first ever podcast where I share my journey of becoming the girl of my dreams by living a more purposeful life. So then after that, I revised my daily routine to align with my purpose, which included really taking this spiritual journey seriously, being consistent with my spiritual practices and astrology daily. And I was also posting more consistently on social media. But then I started to notice something. My views started to get lower and lower, and I started losing followers, and I was also receiving comments warning me about the dangers of spirituality, and it started to trigger my ego. And then this excitement that I had for starting something new quickly turned into this feeling of loneliness and doubt. And then the sun moved into my 8th house of death and transformation. And funny enough, I came across a video about ego deaths and learned more about the ego and how it can get in the way of so many things, and it can cause so much confusion and just get in the way of a person being their true selves. But it also gets in the way of your spiritual growth. And I realized I had to start listening to my true self over my ego, even if that meant I would be alone. I had to surrender to this transformation I was going through and have felt like I've been going through all year, all 2023. And I had to have faith that this was just a part of the journey and it wouldn't be like this forever, no matter how much it felt like it would. Because I didn't realize it until recently, but at that time, I needed to be alone, to sit with myself, to connect more to myself and God, to understand myself, to work on myself, to heal, to grow, so I could help others. How am I going to help others on their journeys if I'm not consistently working on myself? If I'm consistently looking outward instead of inward? The inward work starts first. But then, as I started to do this inward work, this self-healing, developing my own spiritual practice, I started to think, I know practices should be sacred, but I feel like I need to share this with people. And this meaning the work that is done behind the scenes. Because we don't get to see that enough. And I understand why, because it's so vulnerable and it's not pretty. But I feel like it's one of the most important parts of living spiritually. Developing your own spiritual practice, routine, or ritual that you do every day to build a connection with the deepest parts of yourself and a higher power. So I decided I'm going to share what that has looked like for me. And I'm also going to share something that I'm a little nervous to share, but that nervousness, I think it's a good nervous. It's just kind of like, I just think it may sound crazy, but I'm going to share the experience / messages I've received that you would only believe if it were caught on camera. And luckily, I've been turning my camera on for pretty much all of my practices that I've done. And yeah, I have some really interesting content. Let's just put it like that. So pretty much what I'm saying is I'm going to be sharing the most vulnerable, but also the most important part of healing and being on a spiritual journey or path. But, yes, there's a but. Since I am sharing something so sacred, so personal, so vulnerable, I will only be sharing my full spiritual practices and sessions and everything else that I'm going to share on my new Patreon. It's going to include all my weekly practices and sessions, what I do on new and full moons, and so much more. I'll put it on the screen. So I won't just be sharing these practices and that's it, which I feel like is common. We're told to do this, or we're told that this is good. And like, once again, there's so much helpful information out there, but I just feel like you don't really get to see like what happens afterwards, or if it's really real, or even, sometimes we don't really get to see the process and we just see, the person who has that dream life already, and then they're sharing everything. So through this new series, The Life of a Spiritual Girl, we will see how these daily practices that I'm doing do affect my life, but also know that growth and healing is not an overnight thing. And I'm also reminding myself that, because sometimes I do like to rush the process, don't we all? And me being an Aries moon, I've been working on my patience, but I'm not the most patient person. But something else? I've always wanted to impact the world in some way, to leave a legacy behind for when I'm no longer here. And I feel so good because I just have a feeling that this is the start of that. But I have to do that by filming / documenting as much of this journey as possible, because how else will people know, or you guys know, that this is actually real? I also dream of creating the most genuine, safe, trustworthy, intimate, vulnerable, loving, supportive, accepting, sisterly, spiritual group of beautiful souls, online, in person, and globally, who all share similar intentions and who prioritize self-awareness, healing, and personal/spiritual growth. And lastly, in full transparency, I've also always dreamed of making a living doing what I love. I mean, who doesn't? I told myself I would be doing that by 27, and I'm about 2 months from turning 28, and I'm not anywhere close to that. I'm actually just starting. I do wonder though, maybe that dream hasn't come true yet for me because I didn't actually know what I genuinely loved until now. So I want to offer as much valuable content as I can for free access to everyone, most importantly, but I also don't feel right putting out my most vulnerable, intimate, and potentially controversial content for everyone to be able to easily access. So for those who do want a deeper fly on the wall view or POV into what it looks like to heal, grow, and the journey of turning your dreams into reality through spiritual practices, astrology, and most importantly, hard work, while also having someone to go to when you have a question or need advice, and just not being alone on this sometimes lonely journey. The link to my Patreon will be in the description box below if you would like to join. It will be $20 a month. I was very strategic with how I came up with that price. I'm offering a lot of things and I'm sharing all of my knowledge that I've learned. And I actually looked up how much it costs for a Netflix membership. This may be bold for me to say, but I do believe that this Patreon, this monthly service membership, will be way more beneficial than watching a movie, a fictional movie at that. But obviously, no pressure. You do not have to join if you don't want to or if you can't afford to. I just obviously wanted to put it out there because I'm going to start posting on it this week, and I'm going to be posting on it every week even if no one joins, because I know one day someone will, and I know that the content will be well worth the investment. Before you leave, please like this video and comment a white heart if you're excited for this new weekly series of me sharing my life as a spiritual girl. When you like and comment on the video, it helps the algorithm push out my videos. Thank you so much. And now here's a clip of my first Patreon episode. So I haven't meditated yet today, so I'm gonna just do a quick meditation. It's like 8 o'clock, it's late, but I said today's the first day of me being intentional, so no matter if it's perfect, I still need to get it done. So I'm gonna do like a quick 5-minute meditation. I'm trying to hide my hair, and then I'm gonna pull an oracle card, and then I'm gonna read the astrology of the day. That was weird. I got emotional for that. I only did a 5-minute meditation, and it's gonna sound crazy. I am like kind of in shock. This was different. I guess I'll say this. I don't know if I'm gonna put this in the video. I'll leave it in there, but I felt like message of today. Oh my gosh. Bye!